to do that, KJ.
We don't need a rugby.
Young Nathan's just,
okay.
he's smart enough and quick on his feet. From the Crows, one of their outstanding young leaders, Nathan Van Berlo, joins us. Nathan, how are you?
Good, thanks, guys.
Nathan.
How have you handled the culture shock?
Oh, look, it's been very interesting. I mean, to come to a city like this and just see how many buildings are going up, how much work's still going on, and yet to be done.
Can you
incredible.
believe it, Nathan? The amount of construction and the amount of cranes that are here, it's freakish.
No, it's mind-boggling. I mean, you hear about it, and then you come in. Everywhere you look, there's new buildings that are, stories and stories high, and then cranes everywhere shooting up new ones, and the palm just out over the beach with all the development out there. It's pretty amazing.
You're an intelligent young man with probably an eye to what he does after football. I mean, have you looked at a place like this and seen opportunities for yourself?
I'll tell you what, I went for a walk the other day with Roo, because he's over here. I don't know how he scored a trip, but he's managed to get a flight on the flight over. He's sitting in business class the whole way over, so half his luck. And we're going for a walk, actually. He said, I reckon what you should be doing is you should be getting some sort of engineering and doing that, because it looks like there's jobs aplenty over here for that sort of work and field. It's pretty amazing.
Well, they tell me it's going to be the tourist place within 17 years, because the oil's going to run out, and they're building up for it to be the tourist place. But it is mind-boggling.
You talked about those palms. They're actually building islands, aren't they? They're sort of building islands in the middle of the Gulf, and in the shape of palm trees, and the shape of there's one called the World, which looks like a globe with all little countries with their islands and their canals in between them. But
pretty incredible.
I would have thought there's a bit of a risk there with like a man-made island. Surely you're going to be susceptible to the rising sea levels.
Well, you'd think so, but
they do all sorts of things over here. So
the only thing that bothers me, and if you're contemplating engineering, their attention to the building regulations are nowhere near as strict as ours back home. With all these big buildings,
what are you saying? One's going to fall over?
Well, one did the other day. Apparently, one sunk. They're putting it up. It's sunk in on the foundations. But you're doing something 800 metres. Gee whiz! There's got to be a danger there. Surely.
Next one's going to be 1 kilometre high.
Yeah, I heard that.
Unbelievable. Gee.
You guys are up at 6 o'clock this morning. I see on your team sheet. Surely that's not mandatory to be up at 6 o'clock in the morning, or just as long as you finish your breakfast by 8.
Well, yeah, we just had to get up early this morning, and we had some massaging and a bit of that. We actually were going to head out to the police academy, but decided to do our recovery work from the hotel, because it's a good 45-minute drive to get out to the police academy.
There's nowhere around the hotel to do it, though.
No, it's sort of there's no real open space. As I said, it's all just development going up, so we had to head out that way, and I thought it was just a bit easier to do it by the pool and a bit of stretch and a bit of a jog. So,
what are your thoughts about playing here from a player's point of view? Playing in places like Dubai.
It's a great experience. I mean, for us as a club, I think there's about 15 guys that have never been overseas before in their lives. So for them just to get away is a great experience. And then for us to travel as a team, spend a week together, I guess learn the ins and outs of each other when you're with each other for a week, and to play a game over here is going to be pretty special. I mean, we've had a few supporters follow us over, so it's going to be an interesting time come Saturday. Well, we're playing in Abu Dhabi, and apparently there's been, as you were saying, a sandstorm earlier last week, so hopefully we can keep it clear and have a nice game.
Your season's going to be interesting. You're one of these young leaders, one midfield player, one of the young midfield players that Craigie's given extra responsibility to. He talked to us the other day about guys like Edwards and Goodwin and the senior players, Edwards, Goodwin and McLeod, sort of being phased out. The younger players coming in. You're one of those. How's that responsibility sitting on your shoulders, and what expectations do you have personally for the season?
Yeah, I guess Craigie has come out and said that he's going to do that, which I think is pretty exciting. But there's a lot of pressure, I guess, that comes with that with the young guys. But I guess it's going to be, as I said, pretty exciting. We've learnt as much as I think we can throughout the pre-season off those guys, and we've got to at some stage be able to take the weight off their shoulders. Otherwise, as a club, we're pretty much going to go nowhere, because in a couple of years' time, or whenever it might be that they decide to move on, we certainly don't want to have this huge hole left by them. If we can sort of, over the next couple of years, and hopefully start this season trying to I guess, fill their positions in the midfield and allow them to play up forward and down back, then it will hopefully hold us in good stead in the future.
There's some chances for some young blokes to really put their mark within the Crows from this season onward, really.
Oh, definitely, and I think although it's an AB Cup game this weekend, I think there's
a stepping stone,
6 or 7, maybe even 8 guys that have been named in the squad for their first game, so that's pretty exciting for them. It'll be, I guess, a huge challenge for them to go out and play, but they'll be looking forward to it. And it's just, it's a great feeling amongst the group at the moment. It's just really enthusiastic. There's a lot of youth, and guys are excited, and pretty pumped about being overseas, and I guess we've got a game this week, which we've been training for the last few months for, so it's pretty good.
Coming from you, someone so old.
Oh, no. Yeah, real old, 3 years now.
What have you tried to add to your game over summer?
For me, I've just tried to, I guess, become more consistent and in my training form, and with that, I've also asked the coaching staff if I can play a bit more attacking roles at training, because in the previous years I've played
A bit of a tagger role?
Yeah, bit of tagging and more defensive sort of style roles.
At training, that's been your role at training. Yeah.
Well, this year I've been asked to sort of do a bit more attacking stuff, which I guess goes along with what you're saying with Goody and Tyson.
Yep.
And those guys are going to be moving out of the midfield, and hopefully gives us guys more of an opportunity to play in there.
That leads to a question about the sort of training you do. Dan.
Yeah.
What's crazy? It's the drills are all done for a reason and often match specific. But you're talking then almost about replicating match conditions. Last year played a defensive role at practice. This year you've been much more attacking.
Yeah.
Can you give us an insight to your training and the drills that you might do?
Yeah, training is it's really difficult. We train for sort of normally 2.5 hours out at Amy Stadium normally, and it's, as you said, it's really sort of match-like in the sense that we play, a lot of, when we do our stoppage work, it's full on, and I guess when you're doing sort of our style of play against your other teammates, I don't think it can get too much more difficult than that, because we all know what we're trying to do, how we're trying to defend, how we're trying to get it out of the back 50 into the forward line and that sort of thing. So it really can't, in some ways, get much harder than that. Obviously, come game that doesn't always work out the way you want to do it, but certainly to be able to train in that sort of environment where everyone knows what you're doing is certainly hopefully going to hold us in good stead when we come to games this weekend.
So when you talk about your match conditions, a lot of it's to do with your stoppages. Reading it, when you're talking about an attacking role, that's an attacking role at the stoppages? Or?
Yeah, stoppages in the midfield.